humans, maybe animals, maybe inanimate objects. Welcome to Classic Buffalo. This is a podcast where we're sharing everyday people stories on what they've gone through, what they want to do, pains, joys, all kinds of stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting in my car right now. There's a guy who looks like a bigger version of Dwight Schrute. This is nuts. Anyway, I'm distracted. Today's episode is book 34. We're interviewing our first therapist, Meg Mckelvey. She is a massage therapist that, specializes in that. She does other things like life coaching, and you'll hear a little bit about that. But you get to watch her journey as, going from an athlete to working in a casino to pursuing meditation. And she's going to really talk about a lot of cool different ways to do meditation, cool different ways to do healing, and just a completely different approach than what you probably listen to. So I think you're going to enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get to book 34. Well, hello, Megan. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
You allowed me to come to your special little office, which is awesome, honestly. It's super quaint downtown where you do your massages. You are a massage therapist, sort of. Like, when somebody asks you what do you do, what do you say?
You know what's funny is for years, I couldn't stand when people like, oh, you're a massage therapist, because I felt like it was so, surface layer.
Yeah.
So I tell people I'm a wellness professional and I specialize in massage therapy because there's a lot more to it. Like, I do fire cupping, I do life coaching. We talk about emotional mind-body map, which is something that's unheard of. It's like psychoanatomy, but how do you tell someone that, So,
right, yeah.
So we've labeled it now as a wellness professional that specializes in massage therapy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you're the first therapist we've ever had. I was super excited to have you when we met at that networking party, just kind of massaging just in general. I think it's a very underrated thing that can help a lot of people. Absolutely. Not only with very intense medical issues, but just getting that physical touch, getting just general stress relief. I just think it's so cool and actually a hidden part of the mental health aspect. And then when I was talking with you, you're like, it's way more mental than, I don't know. I really vibe with you with that. And so that's why I wanted to have you on, was just to talk a little bit about your passion for massage, wellness, health, and how that fits into just mental life.
Yeah. That's a huge compliment. So I'm going to receive that. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get into background. Day one, you emerge into the world.
Yeah.
Where you from Jersey, right?
I am from Jersey. I'm from South Jersey. That's why there's no accent.
Oh, okay.
I can throw it on if you want. Everybody
right.
secretly loves it. But The words that will stay strong and true will be sure instead of sure, and laundry.
Laundry.
I always do the laundry.
Do you hate the Jersey Shore show?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, because it came out when I was a senior in high school, and my friends would come over to my house, and that's where we secretly drank, and we watched the Jersey Shore. We had to have an excuse, and that was our excuse.
That's so funny.
I used to hide Smirnoff in my laundry basket.
Right. Isn't Jersey the little brother of New York, or just kind of oh, you're from Jersey? Where does that come from?
I can't tell you. I mean, if I could guess, it was, when everybody came over, the immigrants came over, they landed in New York. There's an old wives' tale that says, everybody's name's Tony because people didn't speak English, so they wrote to New York on it, so it was Tony.
Oh my God.
Plot twist, you never knew that.
What?
It's a wives' tale, who knows? But I think people just started fluttering down to Jersey.
Dang.
Yeah, and a lot of people now that work as always, they work in New York but live in Jersey because it's cheaper. But, I mean, we live where I grew up on the shore is 2.5 hours south of New York. So we were never really there. I grew up and lived most of my life and my adult life outside of Atlantic City. So
what was it like growing up in Jersey?
Where I grew up, my parents, we had a house set back in the woods, but we were also 2 miles from the bay, so I got to live a wood life and a beach life at the same time. Everything's always 20 minutes in Jersey, so you can be anywhere in 20 minutes. So,
but there's snow.
But there's snow that turns into slush, and I'm sure you're from here.
Yeah.
So you know about wet bottom jeans.
Right.
We had that issue too.
What was family like? Did you have a tight family, small family?
So I have a very young family. My parents are they've had my sister at 17, me at 20, and my brother at 22. So we grew up with my parents growing up and them learning how to navigate through life just as much as we were trying to learn too. I have an older sister, younger brother, Abby.
What's like one of your favorite memories growing up?
My dad used to tell really great stories of his childhood and what they used to do as kids, because they also grew up in the woods. Like, gosh, he had the best, he still does have the best laugh when he goes. Like, he'll get into a story and he will laugh so hard. And him and my other uncle, they do this, like, laugh, and then they get into this high-pitched, like, giggle, and then a hiss at it. That was definitely a best memory, because we'd all just, like, sit around the table on Sunday, and they'd tell all these stories of when they were kids, and we were like, let's try it. And my parents were like, hell no, we did it already. You can't do that. They would, like, throw frogs off the second floor of the house and paint mailboxes and things. But we couldn't do any of that as kids.
Yeah.
But that's a good memory.
The old shenanigans.
Yeah, totally. Totally. But then my brother and I, my sister was really into like books, and she was more of the artsy one, and my brother and I were very sportsy, and like we would just get muddy and dirty all the time. So we had quads as kids, so we would like jump on them and rev them out all the way into the woods for hours.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Man.
Get it stuck in the pond. Oh yeah.
What sports did you play like growing up?
My first sport that I was intro to, I guess, was soccer, but like that was when you were a 5-year-old kid and you don't know any better.
Right.
But I played basketball since the 4th grade, and then when I got into junior high, I wanted to play lacrosse, but my school didn't have it until we were in 9th grade. So my best friend at the time convinced me to play field hockey, and she would play lacrosse with me in 2 years, which ended up happening. I played field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse like in school. I was actually a goalie for field hockey.
Wow.
Yeah, because I, as a kid, and in my young teen life, I refused to look like a girl and be girly. I was such a tomboy, like, looked like Hanson Brother. Do you remember the Hanson Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally looked like a Hanson Brother. And in field hockey, you have to wear a skirt. I was like, there is no way in hell I'm not walking into school on Pride Day, like, wearing a skirt. So I suited up for goalie, and I ended up being really good at it. I started the A team as a 7th grader, so I could beat the 8th grader out. And then I played varsity 4 years and ended up getting a light scholarship to college. I went to Erie at Mercyhurst and went for sports med. Went to be an athletic trainer for 2 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go there. So
sure.
You're like senior in high school. Why did you choose, to go to Erie?
My school was very small, and we didn't have a large history in understanding how to get an athlete to college. There were probably 2 or 3 that I knew of since my 7th grade year that went and got, scholarships for athleticism and things. So we learned, my parents and I, we learned how to do it, I guess, and we made all these videos. And so when I was a senior in my senior year, we needed to find a college, and we were on a hot hustle. So we got on the computer and we're like, what colleges took athletes that also were able to be in an athletic training program, because athletic trainers are always working with the sports teams. Right. So it was actually, it's almost unheard of to do both. You kind of had to pick one or two. So I ended up finding Mercyhurst, which was one of them, and they started the AT program as soon as your freshman year started as well. So you didn't have to do your 2 years of gen classes. You got right into the program, and I was like, this is amazing. Right, so It was a 4-year degree versus a 6 or what have you. And then we just started sending tapes out, and they were one of the 3 that got back to me and were like, yeah, we want to bring you out here. So we went, and I think I was, we chose that school because it was a big deal. I'm the first kid in my family to ever go to college, and it was someone that was like, yeah, we want you. So we just went with it.
Yeah.
So we did it.
What's one of your favorite memories from college?
I don't know that I have a lot of favorite memories from college. College was tough for me. It was 8 hours away, and it was really, really tough. It was a different culture, and I didn't understand that.
What was different about it?
Everybody comes from different backgrounds, and I didn't really understand that either. And I didn't understand until I moved to California. I understood that, like, the East Coast is different from the West Coast, and the middle of the country is very different from both. You know, the East Coast, you're very hard, you're very like tough, and I was brought up to be so tough and so strong and so independent that it was really hard to like make friends and make those types of connections, because my friends back in Jersey were just as tough, if not tougher, than I was.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the biggest challenges. You know, you just want to be accepted when you go out, you know, and make friends and things. So that was a little bit of a challenge for me. Probably my favorite memory was I won these tickets for a Darius Rucker. Oh my gosh, my language today. Mercury's in retrograde. Yeah. One of his concerts, and it was right when he off-branded into his own thing after hitting the Blowfish. So I paid $25. I won tickets. They were $25 tickets, but I was 4 rows from him.
Yeah, that's great.
It was great. I was like, this is amazing. That's sweet. In this old, like historical venue. So it was actually my second concert ever. Yeah. My first concert was Hannah Montana, and we totally just recorded that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's okay. We all have our past.
We all have our past. I mean, she was pretty cool back in the day. I love Miley.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Miley Cyrus?
You know, I love her through her pain. And I think, I mean, it's basically what we're talking about, you know, about trauma. Like, Miley had a rough one, and, you know, Lindsay Lohan had a rough one, but we on the outside don't get to see what's going on in them internally. And I think Miley did what every other 21-year-old and 22-year-old and 20-year-old did. We all just let it out. We let out all the BS and all that stuff. So, like, I love her through her pain, and, you know, it came out in her music, and it came out, she expressed it in the way that she did. She's doing great now, you know, just as Lindsay did.
Yeah, I just remember for the TV show, it's so hard to have the dichotomy of, you know, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus from Disney Channel, and then, you know, Miley Cyrus, grown adult, who's exploring her sexuality, who's very, you know, upfront with everything. I don't have anything wrong with it. It's just interesting to see how you have two sides of one person, you know.
Right, and you know what's interesting is, like, they're coming out with a lot of Disney stuff, just like any other large influence when you have a young kid, and you know, there's been talk that they made them drink on stage and drink before characters. So half the time they were drunk kids because it's really sad. Dang. Yeah, it was a big thing on it. I mean, and then there's Bikram too. Like, you think every life is so beautiful on the outside, and then you get to really dive in, and it's like, gosh, people are so hurt.
Yeah.
And
that's why we're doing this.
That's why we're doing this. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go into, like, end of college.
Sure.
Like, did you drop out, or did you finish?
I did drop out. If we're completely honest, I was so depressed. I missed my friends. I missed my family. It was in Erie, Pennsylvania, 8 hours from home, and it was hard. So I got super depressed, started to get into pills, which was crazy, you know. And I called my mom, and I was like, hey, I got to get out of here. I had to quit the field hockey team because I had to start working. And it was just like, the best way I can explain it is when a chiropractor had said to me years later, once I became a massage therapist, is depression is when your soul is asking for a deep rest of the life that you're living. And I was yearning for, like, my soul was just crushed. And it was like, get me out of here. Called mom, hey, I need $200 because I'm driving my Jeep home. I'm out of here. And I dipped out. So I left the program, and it wasn't for me, which was fine, because I mean, life is beautiful now, and it was one of the best decisions I made. You know, the universe is going to put you in through some shit until you make a decision, and that was one of the big decisions I made. And I got back to Jersey, took some time off. I got healthy, started to go to some therapy, just kind of, you know, rewriting what my life was going to look like after that. And then I hopped into a sales job, and I was working at the Buckle. Do you remember the Buckle? No. It was a jean store, and you were like a stylist. So.
Well, I know, like, Buckle. Yeah. But, like, is that the same thing as the Buckle?
Yeah, they just call it. Like, Ohio State is the same as the Ohio State.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, I haven't heard of the Buckle. But
yeah.
Okay, so you worked for Buckle.
I worked for Buckle, yeah. And I was assistant manager. I was a tri-state area training sales rep. So I would go to, like, KOP, King of Prussia. I would go to Cherry Hill. I would go to Deptford and teach everybody how, like, all the new hires how to sell and what selling looked like. Right. So I got really good at that. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore, because they wouldn't put me in management because I didn't have a college degree. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm going to go deal cards in the casino. So I dealt cards in the casino after that.
Whoa.
For 2.5 years.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
What was that like?
Fun. When I got into it, they started this new program, and they would, because before in the casino, you had to pay to go to dealing school. And then in this new program that they started, probably about a year before I became a dealer, they were hiring party pit dealers. So they were girls in this party pit. So they would wear like corsets, and we had stockings and leggings. So it was like tastefully sexy, if you will, but we were in the fun section. So it actually brought in a ton of business to Atlantic City when they were doing this. So I got my license and my dealing school paid with all these other girls that were going to be party pit dealers. And I ended up working in the nightclub. So they started putting casino games like blackjack and roulette in the nightclub. So I was one of the pool's nightclub dealers. I was actually the first one. There were 20 of us, but we were the first ones chosen to do it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But that job led me into massage.
How?
So money is interesting, and I'm sure you know people they have passion around it. There's anger, aggression, there's love, there's hate, there's just always there's an emotion around money, and people were ruthless, verbally ruthless all the time, you know, and it was never consistent. It was like, you love me, you hate me, you would give me that blackjack, you know, or you would get the blackjack yourself. So it just became a lot of like just this blah blah blah, and then you'd go on break, and it was like my life was constantly in this up and down roller coaster of either the dealer's emotion around their people playing or the people's emotion on your dealing. So it was just so exhausting. And I said to my boyfriend at the time, I was like, God, I just want people to love me. Like, I want people to like me. I want to go to my job and make people happy. And he was like, what, you know, why don't you go back to school? And I was like, well, you know, I can't right now. It was just me, you know, saying I can't. And I didn't really want to go back for athletic training because I didn't want to sacrifice 60, 80 hours a week. Like, I wanted a family and do more. We were running through the dictionary of like, what can I use in my sports med background that I won't have to go to college for and, get a student loan. And massage came up. So I started looking at massage schools, and I found this one, and I'm so thankful for them. It was a little mom and pop massage therapy school, 6 students, 6 months. I got to pay them monthly payments. They bought me a massage table, and I went. And it became the best turnaround of my life, because if you get massaged, they were like, when you go to massage school, it's going to be the best time of your life. I was like, okay, we'll see. Dude, you get massaged every single day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, if it's an hour, you're in there and you're just getting like all your worries washed away. And it just changed my life after that.
Man.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Went from people hating me to love me.
Right. Yeah. It's so hard for people to do that sometimes. Like, that can be such a big leap. Like, what was like the first thing that you did that was like the easiest? What was that like little foothold or that little tiny thing that you did that could springboard to you Google searching or searching for things that could use that? Because that wall for a lot of people seems to be very high, right? Yeah.
And that's something, if you ask any people that have been in contact with me in my life, they will tell you that I am the person that does that. I am the jump shipper. Like, packed up all my things, moved across country, California. Left California, moved to Indy. Only been here twice. Like, I am the one that's like always taking those heavy risks, but they're not so like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. It's like, yeah, I'm so stoked to do this. Like, I'm pumped to do it. I think that moment happened, when you asked, the first thing that triggered in my mind was when I was in 7th grade and I was playing field hockey. Like, I was really good at it. And I ended up getting plantar fasciitis. So plantar fasciitis is your plantar tendon, and it starts to micro tear. And then the micro tears create scar tissue. So it literally feels like right in the heel of your bone, someone is stabbing you with a knife. Oh my God. You wake up in the morning and you step down and you fall down like, oh my God, I can't do this. So it happened to me. I was like, I can't stop playing. Like, my dad told me not to be a quitter. I can't be a quitter. I'm too strong for this. So I would play, and I was, like, ruining my foot. And then it was in both feet, back and forth. So I was suffering through this 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, on crutches, off crutches. I would lie about the crutches. And, you know, lying about getting cleared, and I was doing all this stuff. And it wasn't until my junior year when I couldn't play basketball. They were like, Meg, if you want to play your senior year, like, your feet are so torn up, you have to take a season off. And it was crushing. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like getting upset about this. I still went to the home games and sat in the stands and was like, I can't play. Like, can't play, can't be a part of it. And after that, it was like, I'm going to figure out how to heal my foot, because I can't not do this. Yeah. So I started getting into it, and I was like doing the stretches, doing the work, and just rubbing them out. And like, PT is great, but you only can pay for it for so long. Yeah. So like, you have to take matters into your own hands. And like, at that time, I was like, I'm taking matters in my own hands. And I got cleared the first day back to lacrosse. And I ran full field in lacrosse. So I was a goalie in field hockey, stationary, kind of the general, like running the field. I was a shooting guard, point guard in basketball. Wow. And then, because I'm short. And then, it was the only reason, because I'm short. And then ran full field in lacrosse. So like, and my coach, love him to death, Millar, he's like, Meg, you ready? And I'm like, dude, I'm ready. We would run 10 for 10s. So 10 for 10s is when you had to run down the field and back 10 times under 10 minutes. Jeez. Or you had to do it again. Oh my God. And there was no, I'm not going to play varsity this year. So I was like, I'm on. And then, so I think that was the first moment where I was like, I have to heal myself. I have to do this for me, because it's not about anybody else. It's about me. Yeah. So
if there's something that, like, let's say I'm a person who has like a passion, but I'm like afraid to go for it, or there's something that's kept me from my dream, like, what would your recommendation be for someone who is kind of afraid to make that move, to move to LA, to become a dealer, to pursue massage, not that specifically, but you get what I'm saying, like, to pursue their thing.
That burns in my soul. What pain are you going to feel the most if you don't do this?
You're killing me. That's so true.
Like, is that pain worth the suffer, or is the suffer of that pain going to be greater in your life? And that's when you make the decision.
Man, I can feel that comment. Jiminy Christmas.
So when I made the decision to move to California, I was offered two things. One, I was like, I need to get out of here. Like, I had to get out of Jersey. I was teaching yoga. I was teaching Pilates. I had my massage business running. Like, life was great. But soul, again, needed more learning. It couldn't plateau. Like, I'm a big grower in life. And, after dealing cards and going into massage and working for chiropractors, working in the spa, I got into personal development and, like, loved MLMs, but hated MLMs, I loved the personal development side of it. So, I got to a point, 26, single, and I was like, I got to move to California. I got to learn more yoga. I got to learn more Pilates. I got to learn more. There's more out there for me. The yoga studio owner was like, do you want the business?
Dang.
Right. And you're like, wow, this is great. So, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, back and forth, what am I going to do? I ended up turning down the yoga studio, because I moved to California. But when I was talking to people and I was saying, like, I'm going to move, there was so many people in my life that I would have this conversation with, and they were like, I wish I did that. I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And it's like, it's not even at this point I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for everybody else, because they're all living in this world of regret. And, like, I can't live in that world of regret. Like, that's too much for me. I don't want to be on my deathbed being like, I wish I did all these things, because I chose to plateau.
Man, you went for it.
Yeah.
You're an example of somebody who's, like, pursuing their passion. Like, where are you at, like, right now? Like, how do you feel, like, being a massage therapist, someone who's in the wellness coaching and all that kind of jazz? Like, where are you at today? And do you feel like you're living, like, in your purpose? Like, I'm sure there's a little bit of there's got to be a word for it, but, like, you get to the mountaintop and you're like, okay, now I'm here, now what? Yeah. But at the same time, I can imagine this has been something you've been passionate, and you're like, I am on fire and things are going really well in this one area, but I'm just curious where you're at right now, because you are a massage therapist and you kind of went for it, and it seems like you're just in the middle.
Yeah. when I became a massage therapist, I always looked at it as a side job.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in our generation, we're told that, you know, you need a college degree, you need to have a career, you need to have a 401k, you have to do all these things. And I lived in that, like, self-doubt of, oh, I'm just a massage therapist. So I did it. I got really good at it and, you know, had all these clients and was, like, doing this summer business. And then how the shore worked, you know, it's just a shore. It's just shore. It's a summer town. So people are busy in the summer and then dead in the winter.
Right.
So massage for me was on, off for all these years. And then I put it on the back burner because I didn't want people to know me as a massage therapist. I mean, before you and I met, you wouldn't have known that I was a massage therapist because I kept it a secret even when I moved to Indy and was doing it on the side because I was trying to build a bigger business and something else. That bigger business fell through. My investor dipped out. Like, life came crumbling down. I moved here to open up something else. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I was like, oh my God, I'm a massage therapist. So it came back. And then I started working on people and I saw the pattern happen again. And it was, you know, people are like, you're changing my life. You're doing this. You're changing my life. And what are you going to do where am I going to go when you move on to the next thing? And I had a spiritual moment at that point, and I was like talking to the universe, and I was like, you can send me a sign if, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I knew in my soul, you know, in my spirit, that I was a healer all along. You know, I'm disgustingly intuitive that I don't tell people. You know, I don't tell people because I think they're going to judge me for it, or, you know, and that's just your ego blocking everybody out. And then, like, I can feel energy, but I didn't share that for a long time. And that was all, like, very suppressed within me. And as much as I love learning about holistic healing and holistic wellness and how much I did it through my own, trauma healing, I didn't share that with the world, which now I am as of, like, 3 months ago. And it's just been spectacular ever since. And here we are, you know, and now I'm living, like, #best life ever. I love it. Like, I am living my best life, but I had a moment and I was like, all right, universe, like, send me a sign. And my boyfriend's mom mailed me a book that I didn't know she was mailing to me. And I got it, and it's the Barbara Brennan Hands of Light, holistic, like, healer, being a healer. And I was like, all right, we get it. Like, this is the final, like, this is the last time that I will shut this trade out that I'm very good at. And here we are now. So it wasn't always I wasn't always proud to be a massage therapist until now. And now I'm doing wild things with it.
What's, like, something, like, crazy or cool that you've done recently?
So recently, right now with massage, I have been studying the body-mind map. So it's where, I'll say it slow, it's where your internal dialogue of pain rests in the body and creates physical pain. You know, when you're talking to somebody and they grab their right shoulder and you're like, I wonder what that's about. Like, you're like, oh, they just have a sore neck. But when you talk to somebody, so here I am working on a client and they're asking me, like, oh man, what is that going on in the right side of my neck? The right side is guilt in the trapezius, right? So that's what we're talking about, because when they grab on there. So in your trap, they're guilty of others, are made to feel guilt by someone, right? So now I'm in these massages and I'm talking to my clients and I'm like, well, what do you feel guilty for? And instantly, it is instant fire. This is what's going on. And then they're like, okay, well, what's this one? And it's worrying about everything. Are you worrying about things right now in your life? This is what the body mind map says. And instant again, whole life story is out. So my mindset coach, he actually came in and was like, you know, I'm really intrigued by what you're doing with this body mind map, because everybody's telling me how you're reading their mail. And I'm like, oh, I'm reading their mail. Like, but the beauty of it is it's releasing this stress or pain and physically and mentally all at the same time. But it's instant. We're not carrying it for a long time, and that's something that's, like, wildly happening in my business. It's people are coming in, we're hashing out their bullshit, physical and mental, and I'm creating this serenity that I didn't know existed until, you know, I get a text message 3 hours later, like, Meg, I've never felt this at peace, spiritually, mentally, physically in one. So my mindset coach, built these incredible fortune businesses, and he comes in and He's like, listen, I want to talk about this stuff. And he's like, what's in here? And I'm like, undeserving or wanting love from woman, relationship stuff with his significant other that he's holding and repressing. And we get into this whole conversation, and it ended up like leaving. It was like, dude, I went back. He texted me the next day. He's like, I talked to my wife about everything and about what's going on. And we created a clearer energy in our relationship rather than like holding it on and this unspoken resentment. Like, we were able to talk about, like, I didn't even know I was feeling that way about it. Crazy stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the science behind it necessarily, but I think there's a lot of validity in, like, your mental thoughts can manifest itself physically. Yes. And like just anxiety. Absolutely. It can make your throat close up. It can make you sweat more. It can make you more attentive or paranoid. It can make your chest heavy, like all these things. And then your body stores that, and you have to either get rid of it or massage it out, right? Or you have to, I think there's some validity to it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
For sure.
There's research done. It's things that people are talking about now, like about how we're even manifestation. It's something that's so talked about now. It's this new hip thing, but it's been something that we've been doing all along this whole time. Like, when you say, if you keep repeating to yourself, you're going to get cancer, like, that's going to show up. You're going to manifest it into the world, you know? If you keep saying you're going to get hit, you know, in my mind, and being in fear all the time that your car is going to get rear-ended, boom, a couple years later, maybe the next day, boom, car's going to get rear-ended. So, you know, people are finding that study of those things to be true. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a college degree that's doing that. But, you know, when you study manifestation and you practice it, these things come into light. In my journey, I talk a lot about the 10-day meditation I went on last year. That changed my life.
Talk about that.
Yeah, love to. One of my favorite subjects in school. So when I moved to California, I became a part of this like meetup group. It was called Spiritual Hustlers. And I was like, yeah, I'm so down for this. And it was a group of these holistic people that wanted to do well in their business. So we used to sit and meditate in the beginning for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes on a topic, and then we'd write about it. And it was a really cool group. And the guy who ran it came back, and he talked about this 10-day Vipassana meditation. And I was like, oh, perfect. It's definitely what my ego needs to sit and do these meditations to see what my life purpose is, which it wasn't at all. It was a lot different than what I thought it was. So I put it on the back burner, and then, you know, life came a little crumbling down. About 8 months later, I moved in with my aunt and uncle out in Cali, and was like, I'm signing up for this thing. I'm doing it because I need a reset button in my life. And I got put on a wait list for October. And it was 2 weeks before the day that the 10-day would have started that I got an email saying, you've been added, are you coming? And I was like, oh, wow, it's past Napa, and I lived in San Diego, I lived in LA, and that's 8-10 hours away.
Oh, shoot.
So I was like, all right, I'm not working, like, let's go.
Whoa.
So I went. And
what?
I went. I was like, I knew if I did it close enough, I would have dropped out. You know, we would have quit.
Yeah.
But if I went far enough, I would have felt so guilty if I quit. Because that's a long drive, sad ride home of, like, regret. So I went. It was so scary. I was, like, recently talking to this dude, how I got to Indy. And I was like, oh, my God, he's going to leave me because I'm not going to talk to him for 10 days. It was, you know, these stupid things. And you turn in your phone. You don't bring any paper. You take an oath of silence on the first day. Yeah. Your face is great. You take an oath of silence. And you take 6 other oaths on that, like, I won't kill. You eat vegan because you're not eating anything that was killed or processed. Like, can't kill a bug. You can't speak, make eye contact.
You can't make eye contact?
No, because eye contact is a form of connection, right? So
what?
Yeah, no eye contact. And I had 2 other roommates too in my cabin, and so imagine like 6 people are in this cabin that you're all sharing. Yeah,
everyone trying so hard not to look at each other.
Like, eyes are down, but even like holding the door for someone is a form of connection. Like, the idea is to just be so with yourself. Yeah. And you have to, like, sign your name for when you're going to use the shower. not like
Oh
at the
God.
timing and everything. So it was a lot different than what I was expecting, for sure. So in Vipassana, the idea of the meditation is to release all of your senses and only focus on your sixth sense of sensation. So when you sit there, you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, are you going to start putting on a tape and telling me how to breathe and do all these things like like what we think normal meditation is? And Goenka leads it in the video, and he says, what you're going to do is you're going to sit Indian style, as I like to say still, but crisscross applesauce, and you lace your fingers and you put your hands on your lap and think of your nose.
What?
That's it. Like, you just think of your nose, and if you have an itch, it's an itch. I don't own this itch. The itch doesn't own me. The itch doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel bad. It's just an itch. But you're not meant to itch the itch. Okay? So,
Jeez.
yeah. Oh, yeah. After day 6, I like to call it a laser. You start at the top of your head and you think about the top of your head, and then you come down to your forehead and you just kind of see what's there, as if you're like, if I'm looking at you and it's just like, oh, that's an eyebrow, or oh, that's a nose, you know. Oh, there's a little tingling there. You start to scan your full body.
Right.
But the idea is to break reaction to sensation. So in our life, when we're hit with traumas, our body has a sensational reaction. It gets fear, it gets anxiety, fight or flight, and then our unconscious mind programs that into our body. So if we fast forward this conversation to why I brought it up, there is a huge recognition to how trauma and your mind and the things you tell it creates pain in the body, and how we react to it. It sits.
Dang.
And then it's triggered and sits. Through those 10 days, once you start to break the pattern of not reacting to the sensation or to the pain, like not moving your knee when your knee is literally screaming at you, like, get me out of this position. It's just in your mind. It's not real pain. So then when you break that and the knee's like, okay, I'm going to let go of this pain now because you're not freaking out, an emotional memory trauma comes up and you sit with it, kind of like a bubble, and then it goes away.
So you could be doing that and then like you think of, I don't know, that one time you got bullied in 5th grade?
Dude, ready for a story?
Wow. What?
Yes. So I blacked out a lot of my childhood, and I still have a lot of it blacked out. I don't know if I put that to suppressing or concussions. It's one of the two, or one of both.
Both, yeah.
And both in the same. I've had a lot of those. So after day 2, I started getting these chest tremors. You know, when you're like shaking.
Yeah.
Remember those? Did you ever get those? I hope you don't remember this, because they're awful. I started getting them, and I, in my mind, was like, oh, it's a spiritual awakening. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Some people would say that. They could say.
Totally. Like, I'm leveling up. I'm going to 5D. So when I sat with the instructor, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, am I just feeling energy? And she's like, just sit with it. And I was like, you're not explaining anything to me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know if I'm about to pop out of this universe. And she's like, just sit with it. And it's not a good feeling, and it's not a bad feeling. So I was like, all right, lady. Day 4, more and more. But in the practice of the 9 hours of sitting, he would sit for an hour each time, and there were 9 sessions pretty much each day. So
Dang.
it was a lot. It honestly, it sounds terrifying, but it was the best thing that I ever did in my life. Hands down, recommend it to everybody. Non-negotiable for my husband, whoever he's going to be. Like, you got to go do this, because it's so healing. So day 4, I'm like shaking, and I would take a nap and would be shaking in the nap, and I would come back and just like kept shaking and kept getting louder.
Yeah, right.
So, but you know, I'm going through these little, like, I'm just, oh, this is not bad. So I'm going through these little like memories. So day 6, day 7, and it wasn't until the last session of day 7 that I am physically like vibrating, and the person in me is like, it wants to cry, it wants to give up, it wants to be done, you know, like, I can't take these anymore. I remember them as a kid. I remember the feeling. I don't remember where they started, but like the feeling was so much, and I was like, I hate this, you know? So that person is trying, that Rock'em Sock'em robot, the blue one, is like, you hate this, like, you hate this so much. And the red one in me is like, no, girl, like, it's equal. Like, it's screaming it's equal. So I'm literally fighting in my mind going, it's equal, it's equal, it's equal. My hip starts lighting up, like, yelling, pain, pain, pain.
Right,
knees, it's just, everything's getting loud. And the red Rock'em is like, no, it's equal, it's equal, it's equal. And then my chest felt like a lightning struck me. Like, literally, lightning struck me. I leaned back, came back, took a deep breath, and this memory came up of when I was 8. I had a brand new pocketbook. Brand new. It was cheetah print blue, like that hot Lisa Frank blue and green. A little triangle bag, and we went to Friendly's. And
what's that?
It's like an Applebee's.
Okay,
but it was called Friendly's. They were really known for their ice creams. Well, they used to have the old Coca-Cola glasses, those cool green ones.
Yeah. I remember those.
And we stole them. And I was 8, and my, the people I was with, they were like, take it, put it in your bag. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. And that's where the tremors started. I was in so much fear of doing something wrong.
Yeah, and you didn't want to do it.
And I didn't want to do it, but I was being told that it was right, that I took it. And my mind had programmed that for so long. And, like, think about that. When you're a child and you're being told to do things that are wrong but are made to believe they're right, you've just created that pattern. Your body has just created that sensation. So, like, when you're an adult going through your boyfriend's phone and you're getting those tremors.
This is good.
This is good. Oh, you're going to find out he's been cheating on you this whole time. It's totally right.
Right.
But it's not authentic to me. It's not real to me. It's not my real emotion. It was something that was given to me based off other people. Yeah. Life-changing.
Gosh.
Like, just melting.
So not everybody can go to California to go do that, right?
No. So Vipassana is done all over the world.
Oh, it is?
It's all over the world.
Is there something in Indy that's similar that somebody could do? Or, like, if you have a practical resource for local, cool. But also, like, is there something that someone who's listening could go home after work and do right now that would be a meditative exercise or something? Like, is there something that's really easy that could get, like, I don't know, I'm curious.
So Vipassana, that form of meditation is just being able to sit, just notice a sensation and not reacting to it. And you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for 10 minutes. And just normal breathing. It's literally getting so present with all of the little twitches and things that are going on and not identifying them as good pain or bad pain. Yeah. That's something so small. And I do that, each day. I just kind of sit down, and I mean, my practice isn't the hour long like I should have it, but at least I sit down and I'm like, oh, I notice I'm doing that. And especially like when I do yoga in the morning, I'm fixing my shoulder and fixing my shirt and my bra and my hips and, my hair, but that's reacting. And not reacting is actually more powerful. You're breaking those like insecurities, if you will. Vipassana is done all over around the world.
How do you spell it so people can...
Vipassana. Okay. It's Vipassana Dharma, Dharma.
Yeah.
I think it's .org. It's not a religious meditation. However, Buddha started it. And then Goenka started teaching it. So it's not a Buddhist meditation. It's just Buddha's way of thinking that we're reacting to sensation. But they offer 3 days and the 10 days. And they're all the time.
Does it pay for it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's not paid for. And this was the most beautiful way that it was ever explained to me. And I started doing this when I was life coaching. When you pay for something, you expect a specific outcome due to that dollar amount that you pay. So say I paid $500 for this meditation, and I wanted to know what my career was going to be, and I wanted to know, who I was going to marry. I was going to have these visions and dreams, but I had, and my mindset was so set on that, like, I paid $500 for this, but what I got was so much more. I would have been mad that I didn't get what I initially thought I put that money into. So they really stress not donating until after the experience, because everybody's experience is so different.
Right. Yeah, that's so powerful, because I also feel like, yeah, you're gonna force yourself to feel something that, and you're completely, you're trying to do the Meg method when Vipassana is trying to do their, like, it's sort of like by having that money element, it could technically ruin your experience. I love that.
Yeah.
Putting what you think it's worth afterwards.
Absolutely.
That's a good method.
And
I like that.
It made so much sense.
Yep.
Because the Meg method wouldn't have worked.
Right.
Like, what I got was so much more. And, you know, how I was saying, like, I didn't charge people in my first 2 sessions with life coaching, because your outcome and your expectations is going to be different from the conversations that we have.
Right.
And I think a lot of businesses should run that way, because we always put these dollar expectations to things, but we expect the outcome to be something rather than the healing or whatever outcome you actually get from it.
So let's talk about, like, when shit hits the fan for you, what does someone do, like, what do you like that other people do for you that seems to work? Is it quality time, buying you lunch? What's like when somebody does this, that really helps? Like, when let's just say you're having a rough day, rough week, whatever. What's something that someone does for you that you're like, that's really good?
I became a huge bath lover.
Okay.
When I was in California, because we're all talking about self-love and hashtag self-love. But self-love is not self-love unless you implement it. You can be aware that you're doing self-love, but once you implement it, that becomes a thing. So I started doing Sunday night baths for myself, and then, life gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
And recently, my boyfriend, he was like, I came back home, and I was just like, 10 massages deep. I was working at the co-working space, like, just giving myself all to people.
Yep, right.
And I came back in the house, and he was like, Meg, you want me to draw you a bath? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And that was it. I didn't need anything more than just that.
What's your advice to supporters for those who kind of struggle with, 'cause, we're about mental health here at Classic Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, what's your advice to supporters? Like, so, and for your example, like, let's say the boyfriends of this world or the family member, the brother of someone who is struggling, having a difficult time, anxiety, depression, or just a rough time.
Yeah.
Like, what would you recommend to that person? Just a mindset, a practical thing for them to do?
I like to offer mindsets versus actions.
Okay.
A mindset to offer is, and this is something that's just come really clear, is we all are in pain and we all are going through something. When you can remove yourself out of you and just be there for someone going through it, life gets a lot easier. Like, I can't hop in your body and know what you're feeling. I can't know your traumas. But I know that, like, I've suffered and I've been in pain and I know what that feels like. So if I move out of me and just be with you and know that our traumas are equal, whether they were me losing a pen to you getting in a PTSD car accident, that pain that we've both felt is equal. Does that make sense?
For what we shouldn't judge on someone else's pain or level, like, oh, I've suffered more than you or whatever. Right. It's just different for every person.
It's different for every person.
Right.
I was in a conversation one time with someone who was just they were so angry at life. Well, I grew up in Compton and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no difference from growing up in Compton than Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no difference from growing up in Compton than growing up in Fort Myers. Like, the pain is going to be the same, regardless of whatever you're experiencing. The root of the pain and the feeling is the same for everybody in their traumas, regardless of whatever it is.
Right. What do you do for other people?
I really like to allow a safe space, but also provoke a safe space. Like, hey, you got to hash this out. Like, it's my friend calls me the tough love intuitive, because I give you that tough love. Like, hey, I know you're going through some stuff, and I don't like I know you're going through it. I don't know what it is, but it sucks. But, like, you got to hash that out, and I'll be here to listen to it. I'll be here to do it. I'll provoke you and poke you, but you got to get through it. You've got to let it out. Mm-hmm. You know, I do that for people. I sound like I'm soft and, like, loving and caring when it comes into my massage, but it's actually, like, I'm caringly tough loving you through it all. Like, hey, we got to get through this. Like, it's time. It's time to talk about it. Time to let it go. It's time to move on from it.
Where do you think we're at with like mental health today?
I'm pumped with where we're at with mental health right now. I'm finding that people are trying to find alternative ways to heal their mind without going through like the hard prescription route. I'm very excited that people use the hashtag best life, living best life, self-love, self-care. I'm loving that people are, you know, doing these affirmation journals, and we're trying to like get into better mindsets. Like I'm so stoked for it. Like I think Instagram has been such a wonderful space for people to get positive information from and filter it through, because there's so much out there. Like I follow so many people that are always talking about mental wellness and mental health and just how to see the world in a different light and use a different level of perception around it. And it's something that we're talking about now.
What's something like we as a society that could like do better, like that could be a solution? It doesn't, I mean, I'm sure everybody thinks they have the solution, right? And then also there isn't just one solution. But is there something that you're like, if just more people did blah, like we might be a little bit better?
Yes, if more people
got massages with you.
Massages. No. Yes. Go to episode. No. If more people understood that, like, your anger and judgment towards someone else is causing you pain. It's not causing the other person pain.
Yeah.
It is causing you pain, and you are living with that pain. And that pain is going to keep setting with you until you make ties with it. That's something that the people need to know. Like your grudges and the reasons why you're upset with somebody or your anger with somebody. People are angry with other people based on the fact that the other person's behavior doesn't go in alignment with your boundaries. Like that's the only reason why we're angry. Because the other person is acting in a behavior of something that we wouldn't do. Like, you're mad at this person because they did X, Y, and Z because you wouldn't do it that way. Let that go. That's just their behavior. That's just the way that they think that their reality is okay. And I think more people need to understand that.
What do you do with it? Like, what if that's a toxic person in your life?
You gotta love them from a distance.
Right.
You gotta love them and hope and pray that they handle their emotions and they handle their behaviors.
Yeah, I think Gandhi said something like that anger is like a gift.
Anger is a gift.
As in like someone could be angry at you and you could be angry at you and be like, I don't accept that gift. And just like then it's sort of like, oh, like you have a choice to accept someone else's, you know,
absolutely
ill intent. I was like, damn, that's a good quote.
That was like a quote I saw yesterday on Instagram. It was like, anger is a choice. Joy is a choice. Confidence is a choice. Yeah. Guilt is a choice. Like, yeah, we really get to choose if we want to be angry at somebody or if we want to keep feeling guilty for the things that we've done, or we get to use the choice if we want to be joyful or not. You know, it's my choice if I want to call you and check in on you and see how you're doing, but it's also my choice to say, hey, he's going through something and I think he needs to be loved from a distance.
So do you have like a motto or like catchphrase?
Keep the vibe alive.
Okay. Why?
I had it for years. It used to be because I'm just love turning negative into positive. I was just like, just keep that positive vibe alive. But now I'm in a space and understanding that we're all a vibration and life is a vibration. It's your responsibility to keep your vibe alive.
Well, you're going to get a tattoo of it, right?
Heck yeah. Yep. I'm getting a vibration.
There you go.
A vibration on my finger.
Sweet.
To keep that vibe going. Yeah. It's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to keep me healthy. It's my responsibility to keep my vibe alive. And I'm going to do the best. I mean, that's what I do in my practice. It's my responsibility in my practice to help people keep their vibe going. Keep being their self 100.
All right, so we're going to wrap up. I have my a fun favorite five. I need a better name for it, but I also need a theme song to play while I do it. But
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. First question. If you could go to dinner with anyone in the world, that is alive, who do you go to dinner with?
Elon Musk.
Why?
I want to know how he navigates his day.
Mm.
I want to know exactly what his day's like, working all those companies and working with all those hours, and like if he's in a self-care routine and if he's not in a self-care routine, and just I want to know. I want to know.
Right.
I want to know his daily life routine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you go to eat?
Probably somewhere near SpaceX, because I just want to look at it
If
the whole time.
Elon was like, we got a McDonald's at Mars, like, let's go.
I'm gonna have to say goodbye to everybody first.
Right, yeah.
But give me that Big Mac.
All right, so the zombie apocalypse. You get a notification on your phone. Zombie apocalypse, it's happening, like now. What's the first thing you do?
Pee my pants.
All right, that's done. Boom.
Okay, we did that.
Like, you're like, I have to do something. Like, what do you do?
Oh. I would jump on the next flight to see the Northern Lights if I didn't see it.
Oh.
Yes.
What if there's zombies on the plane?
I mean, we're going to have to fight them. Like, game on.
They get to see the Northern Lights, too.
I mean, I didn't bring on this jersey for nothing.
What TV show always makes you laugh when you can always go and watch it?
I always watch Friends.
Mm.
I don't know if it always makes me laugh, but it always makes me feel like, yes.
Yeah.
There's always silent giggles. Yeah, I guess there's silent giggles to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
Friends?
Uh-huh.
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Not because of the massage thing. I just love how quirky she is. Truly love how quirky Phoebe is.
Would she play you in a movie about yourself?
Phoebe?
Yeah. Would she play you in a movie about
No, the chick from Wedding Crashers would. Isla, the redhead, she would totally play me.
Yeah.
Or April in the other movie she was in.
What's like one of your goals for 2020?
My first goal for 2020 would be to have a healthier relationship with myself.
Mm.
And that's not just like eating healthy. It's like every day I'm having this healthy relationship with myself and continuing to not rely on other people to make me healthy. Like this year for my healthy relationship with myself, I got sober. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I gifted that to myself for my last year of my 20s. So I'll be 30 come up. So the day after I turned 29, I got sober.
Wow.
So I'm still on that journey. So like that's me holding myself accountable to have a healthy relationship with myself. So we'll come up with a better, like whatever that looks like in the next few days. Second goal is to I'm actually going to go to that Barbara Brennan School of the Hands of Healing. And she owns a college. She has a college to become a healer. So I'm going to take that goal on.
Wow.
Yeah. After that book my boyfriend's mom sent me, I looked into it. Someone actually said to me months later, they were like, oh, Barbara Brennan's school. I was like, what? Divide Guide Sign. So we're going to go there.
There you go.
And then my next goal for this year is to open a co-working space for holistic practitioners.
Dang.
So that's what I've been secretly working on, is opening up a space where holistic practitioners, chiropractic acupuncturists, massage therapists, regular therapists, all come into a space and have specific rooms geared towards their practice so that they can have a safe environment, low cost, and start to build their own practices within, but also be surrounded by a community of healers too.
That's good.
Yeah, thanks.
Last part.
Yeah.
Is what's your favorite part of yourself?
I like being a light when I'm fully on me. Like when I'm fully living my highest good. Like I love being a light that like pops into the room and just like loves and hugs on everybody. Like it's so good to see you, and just making people feel loved. I love that about me.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we have this is the very, very, very final, the for real final last question. You're going to pick a person, family member, significant other, best friend, whatever. You're going to shout them out, and you're going to encourage them. Say, thanks, Janice, for everything you did for me back in 8th grade. You mean a lot to me, blah, blah, blah. And you can go as long as you want, but you're shouting a person out, hey, thanks so much, blah, 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 blah. And then you share with the podcast, say, hey, I said this about them, so they can actually hear you say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I am going to shout out my boyfriend. His name is Ben Morris. Ben has created such a safe space for me to be in a real, genuine, authentic, healthy relationship. And not so much as just like, oh, we're in this great relationship. Like, we are healthy with one another. We have these wonderful conversations. He's allowed me to talk all about my spiritual woo-woo, my hippie bullshit,
right,
and support me through it. I wouldn't be so confident talking about the things that I do with the universe and all the other levels of consciousness if it wasn't for him allowing me to be me and loving me through that journey too. I encourage him to really take on his artistic passion. He knows I'm secretly like hungry for him to do that because it's something that's going to shine here soon. He's fantastic. He wants to make these geometric he's a welder.
Oh, cool.
And wants to make these large geometric welding shapes. Like massive.
Yeah.
Ugh. So encourage, babe. You got this. So I can't wait to keep continuing life with him.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shout out like your massage thing.
Oh,
where can people find you?
People can find me on the interwebs at Epicenter, because it's where you keep the vibe alive, epicenter-indie.com. That's my website. You can always find me on Instagram now. It's epicenter_indie instead of the dash. And you can find me here in Indy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for letting me join and kind of for you to share your heart.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that. Thanks for seeing me.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan from the Classic Buffalo Podcast. Wanted to take a second to talk about Anchor, how I'm actually making this podcast happen. Super happy that I'm partnering with them. So, Anchor is actually the easiest way to make a podcast. I've done my research. This is basically the best way. I promise. It's going to give you everything you need in one place for free, which is the best part. It's going to have tools, so you don't really need a fancy schmancy recording guy. Anchor's going to be helping you out there, and then they're going to distribute the podcast everywhere to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, everything. And then you can also make money with basically no minimum listenership, which is kind of rare. So hop on Anchor as soon as you can. Thanks. What's up, guys? Congrats, you finished the episode. It's so cold right now. It is definitely winter full in effect, but yeah, we're out here killing it, and just wanted to celebrate and debrief a little bit with you. First up, we finally hit 1,000 plays. Super excited. Thank you so much. I don't do this for that, tiny little milestone. Other people have millions of plays or thousands and thousands of plays, but I'm not worried about that. I'm not doing it for the money, not doing it for the views, the listens, however you measure success. Measuring success is just doing what you feel like you're called to do, and I pretty much feel that every time I do an episode. So that's winning. I'm winning right now. So thanks so much for every time you listen to this. It really means a lot. Just hopefully you get something out of it. I always take the attitude of, even if one person listens to it and it's the person who is actually on the podcast, if one person listens to it and it changes their life or changes your life just by going on and spending an hour with me, it's worth it, So thanks so much for listening. If you've shared this episode with anybody, if you ever have mentioned it, it means a lot. If you've even remotely supported me or my mission to really lower the number of suicides, to really make people feel less alone, getting people who are at a 4 out of 5 to 5, 6, 7. My goal is I'm picturing a bunch of people that are just like the people who are on my episodes, but months back or even farther back, or maybe just whatever, they get to hear someone say, oh my gosh, that's how they got through it, or I'm not alone, or here's some tips for supporters. There's so many different benefits that I see with this podcast, even if it's not only just for the person who's sharing it, but for supporters, for other people who are even in similar industries. But then in other times, you just get to listen and hear about someone's story that you have no idea what it's like to be black, white, to grow up in a fatherless home, to be a single parent, to start your own business, to drop out of college. Some of us just won't know what certain experiences are. And so maybe you just get to step in the shoes of someone else for about an hour. Like, that's kind of nice. So even if at that, I love my podcast and kind of the tiny little community that it's building. I'm just super grateful, guys. But shout out to Meg. She was such a positive person. Gave me a massage right after. She's definitely I approve of her abilities. Go check her out. She's good. Does good at life coaching as well. Definitely recommend with that. And man, she's going for it. I kind of wanted to try that Vipassana. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but that sounds like super intense, or like kind of at least trying once, right? Meditation's always been very helpful for me. I don't do it enough, but I definitely would recommend finding a way to do that more often if you can, giving yourself that quiet time and getting outside of your sensations for sure. Definitely recommend that. And it's kind of funny to see that she kind of wants to do something similar to what I want to do. And just all positive vibes, and someone who's really worked hard at self-care and worked hard to for healing. Even though she's shut out a lot of past trauma, she still has done a lot of good progress. So hopefully you guys could see that too. If you know her, shout out her, love on her. Shout out to her boyfriend, who sounds awesome. Haven't met him, but, I'm going to go ahead and say he's a solid guy. So, yeah, another quality episode in the books. The next time you hear this, it'll be a Thursday, and it'll be book 35, which we're going to be having another solid episode. Now, another solid person. Solid is the word of the day. But, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did, making it. If you know someone who wants to be on this, share this podcast with them. If you want to be on, we can talk about dogs. We can talk about anxiety, depression, whatever you want. Let's do it. Let's run it. Without further ado, this is the end. Or really, it's see you later instead of a goodbye. But stay alive. I love you. It means the world for you to support and listen to this podcast. Talk soon. Bye.